and welcome to the SmackDown review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by another one of the Dudley boys, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, to review this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review SmackDown, but also the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review Friday Night SmackDown. I've forgotten my
It's all right.
shrine to Queen Naya.
Quite enough for that anyway. I've got to be honest, I'm not in saluting mood. Right. WhatCulture.com/tickets. WhatCulture.com/tickets, right? That's the link to buy tickets to see our all-in, day of all-in, WhatCulture live show at Wembley-ish, because it is minutes away. It's a mere walking distance away from Wembley Stadium. If you're going to all-in, come and join us between 12 and half 1, followed by an extended meet and greet. Then we're going to convoy across to Wembley, all of us together, for a fantastic day, all in London 2. If you still want more, you can join us for Sweet Chin Disco, when not only Prince Nana and Max Caster will be joining Adam Wilbourn as the MC for the perfect post-show party in the very same venue where we've done our live show. That's through Sweet Chin Disco. Go to Sweet Chin Disco to get your tickets for that, and WhatCulture.com/tickets to get your ticket for our thing. I mention all of that because all of that day is going to be a very, very, very fun time. And here on the SmackDown coverage, we like to have very, very, very fun times, which is annoying because Friday was not a very, very, very fun time. Not at all. I begged WWE to find a better solution than just shifting Cody Rhodes to SmackDown and hoping for the best. And seemingly they answered my begging by just making Raw goated all over again. They have now basically leaned on Cody to make SmackDown entertaining, because I thought this episode was dogger rough. And what's worse is that a very low energy, creatively quite poor SmackDown, save for the Cody stuff, which I'm earnestly looking forward to talking about, was only night 1 of a 2-night taping. I've avoided the spoilers for the second night, but this Friday SmackDown is going to be same building, same crew as the lot we saw on Friday, because I think WWE are in Japan.
Yes, you're right.
Wish they'd taped a SmackDown in Japan, because what we know of crowds now is that it's just the most awesome time internationally. Nobody was on, creatively or in ring. The SummerSlam card, I'm right in the middle of where you and Sidge sit on SummerSlam. He's looking at that card and thinking, what the hell is that? You are looking at that card and go, whoa, what the hell is that?
5 amazing matches already confirmed. I sense we're probably going to get a 6th probably tonight.
Fingers crossed.
If not 7th, actually.
Fingers and indeed arms crossed. I'm right in the middle on this, because I think I know what you appreciate about this SummerSlam card, having monitored a lot of the stories that are ongoing on SmackDown. And yeah, I think WWE are doing an almost entirely terrible job of promoting them. Like, on SmackDown at the moment, I am just seeing a haze and a fog of grey and dull characters with very little going on, always with the caveat save for Cody Rhodes. But the amount, it's okay for the top guy to carry the show. It is criminal how much he's being asked to carry it for me on SmackDown right now.
Respectfully, I'll disagree. I enjoyed this SmackDown. I'm really jazzed for SummerSlam, and obviously the sense, it's sort of caveated, I suppose, by the presumption that this is going to start the road to Survivor Series, and we all know who features there.
Of course, yeah.
We all saw the graphic as well over social media over the weekend that got me moist.
They could be teasing him featuring at SummerSlam, right? The story they're telling us, certainly with a view of we're going to jump all over. Like, the main story on SmackDown, and really that's what it's all about, because it's never matches, mate. Like, the main story of the main eventer of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes, fantastic, no notes. Supremely excited for who might be on hand to involve themselves in that story. Also great. Really excited about the follow-up story that they have buried deep within this current one. It just isn't the match. SummerSlam is not the match, and I feel like no angle development, no stuff. Other than the fact that Cody
I
goes
disagree.
in and beats it, I just don't.
I think they're going to make it tribal combat and it's going to kick ass.
I give them the best possible chance when Cody makes it tribal combat, but Solo is so far not it that it is getting in the way of a story that I'm otherwise really enjoying.
That's the point of it, though. Isn't that not the point of it? He's a pretender.
I get that.
I mean, the only reason he's still people are respecting him is because he's got Jacob Fatu, the great equalizer. I
can stretch that, like, I'll go as far as to say...
I thought Tongalo was good on this episode, by the way.
Tongalo was good on this episode. I can buy Pretenders to Thrones, and can quite enjoy it, quite honestly. I think WWE is set up in such a strange way that often somebody kind of faking it till they make it is part of the charm sometimes. But like that was a common trait of a quite dysfunctional WWE. Often people made it to the top in spite of themselves because the company was so broken. We used to talk about Kevin Owens drawing attention to how broken WWE was under Vince McMahon. It was like, and he's the one guy that gets it, and as a result, just like looks around and goes, all of this is stupid. So I'm just going to call out Stone Cold Steve Austin in main event at WrestleMania, and it worked.
Yeah,
right. That's how kind of dumb WWE was. WWE is not dumb anymore. So while I can tolerate certain chances getting a go, and I really can, my tolerance is quite high for it as long as you tell me a fair story. I don't think they want you to think of Solo Sikoa as a chancer, and I think that's the problem. Like, I don't think... Like, we might be able to receive him as a pretender because the real tribal chief is obviously Roman Reigns, and the real final boss or the real gaffer at all of this is The Rock. Like, we know that the bigger stars are the ones you're not seeing on TV, and I get that. But I just think they are still asking you to say it. Right, yeah, you might think of him as a guy that's going to fake it till you make it, but you're kind of supposed to see him as a big deal as well. And I just don't. I think that they are asked. I feel like I'm being asked too much of with Solo Sikoa in this spot.
I love the bloodline.
I like all of this. I do.
I think I'm going to get something later on that counteracts that point of. I think they're spelling out to you. They're trying too hard to convince you that they're the rulers of this place.
I'll never take a big dump on it from a height like a lot of people will, because I'm watching and I can see what they're doing and I can see what they're plotting. And every single week there's definitely
and I'm the king of let it play out.
Well, indeed, you've never been wrong, which is like you've got that going for you. That's what works against me. Is that like, I mean, if you look at AEW at the moment, it's very clear that Dean Ambrose leaving WWE is a work. So you've never been wrong. I will back and support the plotting of this bloodline story to the hilt because I think they have done and are doing all the work. But there is something about Solo. I wish he was just a bit better. I can't sort of summarize it any more than that. I wish he was a bit better. I don't need him to be as good, and this is important, right? And I think there's a lot of like not bad faith arguments, but simply people aren't watching arguments, right? He doesn't need to be as good as Jacob Fatu. No. That would kill it. Like, Jacob Fatu needs to be this guy that is the real threat. And I think that dynamic is fine, but he needs to be a bit better than Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, is it because Roman could always get it done and then just benefited from using the Usos or Solo in the past, whereas you don't feel that... I know he beat John Cena, destroyed him and what have you, but you don't think like, all right, if they did the stip that they did with Roman and then... Solo lost the setup match, and he just had a one-on-one with Cody, you'd be like, oh, Cody's got no problem here.
It's a feeling as well. He just doesn't, like, I was patient with the Santa Claus suits and the Alan Partridge gloves. I really was, and am, because you've got you've got to put across the idea, you know, the Euler file coming back and it being like, get that off. Get that off now. Yeah. Your head is not worthy of what is effectively a crown. And like that element of it, I think is working tremendously well. But there is a shoot version of the, like, you don't want to shoot yourself into a shoot work brother, basically.
Yeah.
And I should see Solo as a pretender who actually on the slide can go anyway and be good at faking it. Instead, I feel like I'm watching a guy that is actually faking it.
Okay.
And that's where my kind of, my emotional disconnect is. But yet again, otherwise, like a good week for the mapping out on the road to SummerSlam. Like that,
and the road after SummerSlam, not just with the bloodline, but with KO and particularly obviously Randy Orton to justify and be like, what did I benefit from helping you? I try to put my body on the line from you and you're still there being like, yay!
Triple H
champion.
His booking has raised like this is all very wrestling-y for SmackDown. I do apologise, and there's absolutely naught to talk about in the show itself. So this is we'll do.
Disagree, but okay.
We're basically in the review at this point. Triple H's booking, I think, has thrown up some new questions about what makes sense to do as a week-to-week TV booker. Sidgwick has made the point before that like there is method to his madness in terms of how you have to you can't do every single feud on every single pay-per-view, and you've got to let things, some things have got to be hot while some things simmer a little bit, and then ideally you want everything to always be simmering, and then you bring certain things to the boil, and then you kind of let certain things quieten down for a few weeks or whatever. From a tactical point of view, it's very, very smart, but this is the first time, I think, in this Cody Randy Orton program, this is the first time where looking past the thing we've got right now to the thing I actually want next is hurting the thing right now.
Okay.
I've never really felt this is fine, but what I'm really excited about is that. So, for example, Chad Gable's inevitable union with the Creeds was always going to come. Didn't love how that happened last week, but that was always going to happen, right? But I wasn't completely looking past the Sami Zayn thing. I was just I don't need Chad Gable to win this match. I'm so excited for when he joins with the Creeds. I would like him to win the IC title. I don't think it's the death of the Chad Gable character if he loses to Sami Zayn. And he did lose to Sami Zayn, right? This one, I'm sort of it's all right. This is a vehicle for what's ever going to happen next to the Bloodline Civil War, but can we get Solo away from the belt, please? I want to get to Cody and Randy. And I think it's this part of it is designed to make you be like, God, we want Roman back so much, and you're 2 weeks away from getting that, basically. And they are getting that reaction every week. Yeah, that's the point why they're just they're standing tall at the end of the show again. Yes, because it's not 6 months away. Mm-hmm. This is sort of a microcosm of what the Bloodline did before, except it's a far shorter time span. But yeah, like you say, we'll get into it because the show started with a big recap of what happened with Cody and Solo previously and the beatdown at the hands of the Bloodline. More on that later. Yep. And obviously Randy Orton being taken out. And then Cody Rhodes comes out, not suited and booted. He's ready for action this week. He says hello to Terence Crawford, who's got some boxing match, a very popular boxer, of course. He's got some Riyadh season match coming up soon. More on him later. Yes. And Cody gets in the ring and says, what do you guys want to talk about? He did it just like that as well. Talks about Randy Orton being his friend and his mentor, a man who saw something in years ago. And without Randy, he wouldn't be here today. And he feels guilty, obviously, since Randy and his family suffered recently. And Randy's family to Cody. And he's just going to, he wouldn't want him to bang on too much about that. So he's going to talk directly to the man responsible for this. Solo says, I looked you in the eye before Mania 39 and told you weren't ready, and you paid me back by costing the title at that Mania, the same title I'm wearing right now. Now you're trying to erase your time as the enforcer, and you'd be the tribal chief. Well, I'm still on top. I'm still the champion. You're not. Before he can really go into Solo, though, he's interrupted by A-Tan Dan Anda. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Austin Theory comes out and says, look, this is your fault, Cody. I've got a swollen face. I got attacked by Jacob Fatu last week, all because of you. Cody says, are you sure that wasn't because Grayson Waller hit you in the face? And Waller says, don't talk about that. Don't stop deflecting. You're the one responsible for all this. And they go to get in the ring. Big brawl breaks out. Numbers game catches up to Cody. They throw him to the outside, but there, of course, is, as I mentioned, Terence Crawford, who hands him a chair, and Cody uses that to get rid of A-Tan Dan Nanda, and, more on this in a second. Yeah, not the worst way to overlap a couple of things going on, and sort of do your impromptu main event and create the situation in which yet another one of Cody's allies would suffer the consequences. And a team that can eat losses. Yeah. And still have some, they'd just be in the tag champs, basically. Not the worst bookends to this show at all. And again, it's Cody. He's a proper top guy, Cody Rhodes. He elevates everything. Yeah. He's got the glow around him. He elevates everything. The tag team felt bigger. This was like Crime Time being associated with John Cena or something. I know they were allies rather than enemies, but the same applies. When you've got a top guy and they just interact. Maybe a better example is AJ Styles and the Good Brothers with Cena. Mm-hmm. When Cena buddied up with Enzo and Cass and that, just beat up John Cena. Yeah, you kind of knew they were going to get beat, but they had to, last week this is the stuff that Triple H is good at. Last week they were beaten up, and you just think, in the olden days, the tag team just gets jobbed out like that, just for the fun of jobbing some guys out. No, this was to build up to this week's main event, and you needed this main event because you needed the outcome to feed into what we got later on with the Bloodline. So I got no problems with this. I did see the Springboard Van Daminator getting a bit of stick. and not unjustifiable because he had to stand there for an ice age with that chair. What is this? Whoa, Bush. Yeah. So overthought that, but otherwise,
Carmelo Hayes is in his dressing room getting his hair done, and he's going to kick Andrade's ass. They're going to go hard in the paint, unusual stuff. And then Cody's walking backstage, runs into the SmackDown general manager. Can't remember what his name is, actually. We didn't do that on Friday, did we?
We did not. We really can't remember his name.
My apologies.
Weeks without remembering his name.
Anyway, he's like, I want to fight him. A handicap match, I don't care. And the SmackDown GM says, no. Get yourself a partner. You got to the end of the night. I thought, well, who's not going to want to tag with Cody Rhodes despite everything?
I'm still on the SmackDown GM to tear the suit off. You got it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
One day. Then it was time for Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade. Fun back and forth early on. Hayes takes over with that leg drop as Andrade's draped over the ropes. That takes us to a break. When we come back, we see a replay of that class Spanish fly that Andrade does. Andrade just nails him with a clothesline as well to get them both down. They trade strikes. Andrade hits some dragon screw leg whips, fires up the crowd. The crowd are enjoying this.
Yeah.
Running double knees, but Hayes comes back with a tilt whirl face buster. They fight on the top rope. Andrade hits that awesome miss your moonsault but land on your feet, but hit your moonsault on the floor anyway.
Yeah.
Got a nice near fall off that. That spinning back elbow.
Oh my God.
Every time for a 2 count. Goes up to the top, jumps off. And Hayes counters with that code breaker, the first 48 as he calls it, for a great near fall. Hayes goes to hit nothing but net, but Andrade moves and hits him with the message to get the 1, 2, 3. I was pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah.
Andrade still got some, I'm telling you.
You've kind of backed, in your defense, you've backed Andrade since he returned with, what I would classify as minimal evidence to suggest why. But this was maybe some supporting evidence that there's something left. This was probably the best Andrade match since he's returned to WWE. Feels like the most memorable. Feels like the one you're going to lean on. If in 3 months Andrade has not had any more, when you're saying, well, actually, don't forget the Carmelo Hayes match.
Yeah, he could win the Rumble,
Yeah, he's had that one match now where people can go, there was that for a second. I didn't love this, if I'm honest. But you're right to point out that there were points where the crowd came up for this. This wasn't just some quite flashy spots that they knew were going to get hyped online. It was a lot of that, but there were definitely points where the crowd were rooting for Andrade, and I haven't really seen that in any meaningful way. And is that a credit to Carmelo Hayes for becoming enough of a heel that people want to root against him? There's 2 people out there, and there's a character that I think we've praised Carmelo Hayes' character where a lot of people are not really seeing much, and he's a guy that doesn't have enough memorable matches to talk about himself in the way he does. So I think this was a success on those terms. I was pretty bored, right? But on those terms, it would be a success. And I thought the booking was quite interesting because I thought this was a nailed-on Carmelo Hayes win, and they've given this to Andrade, and there's no obvious push in sight. So maybe this is the start of one. Do you know what I mean? This is, again, if we're going to sort of say Triple H plots and he thinks and he cares, he doesn't tend to just throw a win on somebody and hope for the best. I
can see an Andrade Cody history at the end of the day.
The two.
B-level pay-per-view match.
Flaming table.
That's where I'm aligning Andrade with Zelina Vega because I really like that now. I've decided.
Right, okay. That's because they were
still want Zelina Vega to wrestle. Don't get me wrong. But they wrote her out of Raw with a bad arm.
You have to analyse this in good faith. And this win for Andrade is the sort of thing where it's in 6 to 8 weeks, you might see why that was.
Yeah.
And who else has he beaten? What else has he done? And did it all start here? So I kind of, I'm still a bit folded, but I'm all right, I'll see you next week. But I didn't love this as much as I've seen some of the praise, but it felt like a good night for both men.
Yeah, shout out to the crowd in.
Oh my God.
Ha. We get a recap of everything with Tiffany Stratton and
so
Nia Jax.
Nice. That is good. That's good radio.
And the Nia Jax, what the hell do you think you're doing, Tiff? And then we're going to get an interview that's teased before the break. We come back and they are, split screen. And they do the usual thing of they ask them a question and they ignore it and just go straight into the promo. Basically, where are my manners? Queen Nia, apologies again, she's not here. Feel sorry for Bayley because, Queen Nia's going to beat her at SummerSlam, put her down like an old sick dog. And Bayley's like, oh, Nia, you haven't changed all these years. And I was like, call me Queen of the Ring, which, to be fair, she should.
Yeah.
She worked hard for that. Bayley basically says that Jax walks around like she owns the place, talks about Bayley taken out of a SummerSlam match in 2017, called her big, clumsy, and reckless, which previously I would have subscribed to, but now I'm like, you take that back. And then Jax is fizzing by all this. She says, I'm coming for the title, but I'm particularly going to enjoy taking the title off you. And Bayley says, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I've changed after what happened, 7 years later or whatever. I'm going to walk out of SummerSlam with the WWE Women's Championship. And basically, there's nothing you can do about it. And Nia Jax just gets angry and rips off the microphone and storms off.
I would call this the stupidest verbal exchange I heard this weekend, but on a local radio station in the Greater Manchester area, I heard a DJ filling in the in-between bits of I Knew You Were Trouble by Taylor Swift by like teeing her up to say things. I knew you were trouble when you walked in, so it's a shame on me now to give you places I've never been. And then he goes like, "Why lying on the cold hard ground? Oh," and then like he left it sing the rest.
Doing the Peter Kay bit from about 15 years ago,
from a song that's about 10.
Yeah, I was on the radio when that was.
1989, that was off, I think, or maybe the album before.
Yeah,
so,
before.
So 2013-ish, 2012.
Yeah, that's peak Wilbourn commercial radio days. That.
And you wouldn't have done that, would you?
No, I played the goat screaming because they were popular at the time. So he's like, "Oh, you remember that? Oh," I just replaced that with the goats screaming. So there's levels to this game, brother.
There's only one goat that screams, and that's when you say hello, mate. So yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
that song.
I know, 2024, mate. I know. So yeah, only a silver medal for Bayley and Nia Jax.
She knew Nia Jax was trouble when she walked in.
Yeah, it's a shame on her, if anything.
Sorry, I've got to check.
This is blowing your wig off, isn't it?
I Knew You Were Trouble it's 12 years old.
Yeah.
It's 12 years old.
And he's doing the fill-in bits. Answering the...
And that's the Peter Kay, Libby X, just a little, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what have I got? What have I hit?
It predates Peter Kay in the fact that it's every cheesy DJ from like, what, the 60s, 70s, when like, you had like the old codgers on radio, like the Tony Blackburns. No disrespect to Tony Blackburn, but an era of certain Radio 1 DJ where that was like, I've derailed you for this, by the way.
So let's just see if I can dig something out.
It's tweaked your radio thing, hasn't it? I thought this was...
Yeah, it was 2012.
The camera's not going to pick that up.
They're going to pick that up.
There's a Wilbourn with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Get that to Brian over X and see what he can do with that as time passes.
She said, "I knew you were trouble when you walked in." I was like, bloody no.
Shame on me.
Wait till I talk about wrestling. I can't. Okay.
We are indeed tortured poets.
Can I, a little behind the curtain, the statute limitations there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you do these interviews, there's very strict rules. Certain people, they will be like, in the room, you dare step out of line.
Sorry to cut in. Did you ask that picture, or was it agreed upon that you take a picture? How?
I think she asked me for it, if I remember rightly.
Right.
She said, "I can see something in you. You're going to be hosting a club night for a Sweet Chin Disco in about 12 years' time." I went, "Hey, pop along if you can." She said, "I'm on a bloody tour, aren't I?" That's why
the stage is set up the way it is, because me.
Yeah. I said, "Yeah, you should play Wembley." Actually, I suggested it to her.
Yes.
In a few years.
And if you've got any gaps in the middle, ideally, if a mainstream number 2 wrestling promotion opens up, they can do something in the middle. And I might do a live show beforehand and be on stage afterwards. And she said, "That sounds really good and really interesting. See you in 12 years.
That interview, her manager was stood looking at me in the room. Normally, it's like management would be out there listening to this.
Was the webcam on it?
It wasn't filmed.
Right.
For whatever reason. But I also distinctly remember they send over certain things like, "Do not ask Michael Hamflett about crisps," or whatever. The Taylor one was, "You can ask her about the subject of relationships, but not specific relationships."
All right, I get that. So
it was like Harry Styles period.
Yeah, so like no names, but like, how's the love life at the moment, Taylor?
Yeah.
And then she can say, "Well, it's this and this and this," and you'll kind of, in my new album, I kind of wrote about,
Play the game.
Yeah, Bayley and I thought it was terrible. I thought it was really bad. Right, I knew this was trouble when it walked in. I knew that
a flashback to bad times.
What the was this, right?
The only good one was the Riddle Seth Rollins one I can remember recently.
Yeah. The 2017 story they were referencing, right?
Yes.
Of Nia Jax injuring Bayley. Now, it won't shock you to know that my stupid little brain went, yes, that was the injury where she rolled out at SummerSlam 2017 and Sasha Banks took her place and it was in Brooklyn and Bayley got booed in Brooklyn. It was like, hang on, 2 years after 2015 TakeOver and 1 year after Asuka at TakeOver and she's getting booed in Brooklyn. How have you done this, WWE? My brain in that in like 6 seconds. I'm already pretty pissed off. But like, Triple H, mate, get over yourself. Like, yes, dead, fumbled, like, yet another 2 home run wrestlers, and you want to, like, exert a bit of revenge in the form of your programming, but, like, nobody cares, mate. Did you hear the 0 pops all of you black and gold faves got when they all came back to WWE? Move on, even I have, right, about Bayley's, the failure of Bayley on the main roster. Like... the reference just didn't stand up really. And then what are we doing? Talking about like, you know what you say, right? If this is what you want to do and have Nia Jax be like, no, there is no way to do it. What am I saying? If you want to call somebody dangerous, it's fucking wrestling. You're supposed to be. Yeah. Like, oh, you can't say you pinned me with a roll up or a backslide because then what happens? Rematch because you didn't beat me with your finisher. Yeah. Like, this is so dumb. Get away from it. Reckless. Like, yeah, like, because you've entered a competition where the idea is to knock somebody out for a count of 3 or bend or break their bones so they submit. What is that if not...
won Queen of the Ring with one of the best things I've seen all year.
Yeah, that was pretty goddamn reckless, right? Like, it just doesn't work. It does not work. It pulls at a thread that you don't need to pull at. This was dumb. This was, again, like... What have I praised Triple H for consistently more than anything in the last 2 years? Finding the links. Find the links. There was so many better ones with Bayley and Nia Jax.
Call back to TakeOver. You're going to do that. It's being as much as in people's memory.
If you absolutely want to dig deep, go to there. Yeah. Go all the way to there and you'll find one better than...
People didn't give me a chance when we fought at TakeOver. Well, guess what?
And Bayley's like, look, like back then I knew how to stop you. You call yourself unstoppable just because you've got a crown on your head. Like, I don't acknowledge you as the queen because you were never the queen to me. Like, you may be bigger and stronger than me and you may be more dangerous. Look, you were so dangerous you once put me on the shelf. But like, that was then, this is now. And there you go. You've just established the same thing.
Oh my God, as well, you could have done it so much better. Sorry to interrupt. No. You say, oh yeah, I'm different from the person I was back then, but even that person back then would beat you now. And that's how you bring back the Bayley buddies and she comes out in ponytail.
Didn't like this.
No. Right, in the back, we see Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Piper Niven, and Chelsea Green. Basically all arguing about who gets to go and see the SmackDown general manager. They've all forgotten what his bloody name is as well. Right, man. Awkward. Jade's like, let's sack this off. But Bianca says, let's have a bare knuckle fight then. And then we get Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green for a whole 56 seconds. Chelsea slaps Belair. Belair returns the favour. Hits her with a German suplex. Belair gets her in position for the KOD. Green gets out of it, rolls Belair up, but Belair counters and rolls Green up for the 1, 2, 3. Weirdly short, this. Don't know why they did it this way, because I was really hoping for big things for Chelsea Green off the back of Money in the Bank. But regardless, I think she can recover herself in one rant to the general manager. Post-match, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the tag champs, appear on the screen. They've got all the power.
Have they?
They aren't sure about giving Bianca and Jade a rematch, though. They'll see him next week, and we'll think about a rematch, basically.
Just a bunch of corners that...
They've got too many matches on SummerSlam, aren't they? They can't put this on there.
So many corners that Triple H has booked himself into here. Like, again, you just did the nice thing at Clash at the Castle for the nice reason. So, nice one. Commit to the bit. Like, pretend that it wasn't for the nice reason and book them effectively and book them and promote them. Like,
are they doing it planning to do a huge SmackDown where both tag titles, you reckon, are on the line? Men's and women's? The SmackDown the night before SummerSlam.
Possibly,
because I don't see either of those matches making it onto the card, unfortunately.
People just say stuff. Like, the tag champions, we've got the belts, we've got the power. Have you? Because I see Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill on television all the time, winning matches all the time, and like that match at Clash at the Castle increasingly looks like a fluke because you have basically disappeared, like using your own magic powers.
Yeah, they did like some stuff with like Chance and Carter, didn't they? And
it's
Damage Couture.
It's just not credible. And I like, don't work me, bro, that kind of thing. And in the meantime, like exactly the same thing with Chelsea Green, a wrestler that has absolutely worked around a gazillion times the wins and losses don't matter thing, being like sort of taken for granted by getting beaten in a minute. Waste of time.
I do hope in a weird way Chelsea Green flips out and says, I don't get any respect. I never get to challenge for any bloody titles here. I'll tell you where there's a new mid-card title. That's NXT.
Great. Yeah, send her there. Loads of fun.
Kalani Jordan versus Chelsea Green.
Yeah, I just... Like, Chelsea Green, it doesn't matter too much that she loses in a minute because she maximises the minute, and WWE knows that. I don't even know. I don't think this book encourages anybody to think anything about anybody. It's sort of the worst case scenario, right? Oh, paper champions. Oh, challenges that could probably do without having this title situation is a fuss, really. That's an inconvenience more than a goal. Meantime, Chelsea Green. Oh, it's a character that doesn't matter if she wins or loses. She exists, and it's really fun that she exists. Should I fantasy book her into matches? Nah, I can't be asked with that either. It just out without.
Yeah, Chelsea has gone from waiting outside the SmackDown GM's office last week with a neck brace on to waiting outside this week with no neck brace.
Yeah, aye.
They could have at least had her in the neck brace, so it sort of justifies having her lose within 60 seconds. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
There's ways for
funny.
Matter.
I shouldn't say that.
There's ways for funny to be money, and WWE know this because of
money's green.
I was going to say something R-Truth, but that's an even better thing. Money's green. So how are they getting that wrong? And Chelsea are a rich football team.
They are indeed.
It's an expensive part of London to live in.
The SmackDown GM, again, I keep forgetting what his name is, but he was out next to tell us that SummerSlam's coming up and he's trying to make the best possible matches for that event. And he's got the contract for the US title match. He signed it. LA Knight signed it. The only person left is Logan Paul. Out comes LA Knight.
Yeah.
Followed by Logan Paul, who gets the anticipated reaction. Logan grabs the mic, though, and says, why should I give LA Knight any kind of shot? Knight calls him an edgelord. He says, maybe you should walk away, but maybe you should think about the fact that I've cooked you ever since we've been interacting with each other. 1 year ago, I gave you directions about what to do with Prime. I believe he said shove it up your ass.
Yep.
And since then, fair play. Logan Paul has won the US title. Gives him respect for holding that belt. And he's asked for a title shot that got declined. So he went to Logan's house and all of his loser mates. And he got a match with Logan, who he pinned, obviously, to qualify for Money in the Bank. And now he's chasing him, basically. Logan cuts him off and calls him Sean. Says,
I thought his name was Max.
Your name is defined by what you do in the ring. That's not the case for me. For the Paul family is always in the zeitgeist. You know, we're a bunch of fighters, we are. And you loser dad, let's not forget about him. He's a loser. He might be good in the ring, LA Knight, says Logan Paul, but he's trying to become everything that I am. You've never had a defining moment in 20 years of wrestling. You're just a gym bro with a spray tan trying to be The Rock. And LA Knight's, oh, I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
He calls Logan Paul low T, says he's a fraud. References Jake Paul. He's already referenced Jake Paul stepping in the ring with Mike Tyson. I should have mentioned that. Although he didn't fight him this week. Mike Perry, he fought. Okay. Another not a boxer. Brilliant.
Is this it now?
A former UFC fighter. Fair play.
Is this just boxing now? You're on a SmackDown, a wrestling podcast. I don't have a clue about boxing. Is this just boxing now?
Terence Crawford's a boxer.
Right.
Jake Paul has got some talents, but he had one fight against a legitimate boxer.
Yeah.
Tommy Fury lost.
Right. So
what are we doing here?
Just
do the fight with KSI. Let's get on with it. Come on. Anyway, he says, look, Jake has got the balls to step in there with Mike Tyson.
Speaking of YouTubers fighting each other, can you go knock out I Show Speed, please? Because I saw him swearing at a kid, and I just don't like that.
He's a character, isn't he? But he is the face of the most delicious drink in the world. He's part of Prime, and it's fantastic. You should give it to your kids.
Don't give it to your kids. Jackknife your kids safely onto a bed.
Don't let them watch I Show Speed. He's a bad person.
Yeah, don't let them watch I Show Speed. Jackknife your kids onto a bed, or as I saw this weekend, thank you for the many tags of this, a ginormous cardboard box that a telly comes in. As a table.
Think of that.
Creates the breakage as well. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
He says, Jake's got balls, you ain't got balls. Balls don't run in the family or whatever. And Logan says, well, at SummerSlam, I'm going to take everything from you. And he steals the catchphrase, signs the contract, throws it at LA Knight. SmackDown GM has to separate them. And Logan Paul goes to leave. LA Knight goes to pick up the contract and be like, yeah, I've got my big SummerSlam match. But Logan Paul doubles back and attacks LA Knight, and they go back and forth. It looks like he's going to hit him with a blunt force trauma, but Logan Paul legs it at that point.
I am so old, that if I use a bit of terminology, you know that terminology is already dead to young people, right? I am then so old that if I use terminology that even I know is dead to young people, that like it's never ever going to be resuscitated. So I apologize in advance for hitting some of that terminology that is dead beyond resuscitation. How did a single segment featuring two wrestlers like this feature such little aura? I thought this was a pretty bad night for both guys. It was very heavily scripted, and you could tell that. And I don't like watching people like Logan Paul and LA Knight's eyes. I felt like I could see the scripting behind the eyes, and I don't like watching two performers like that have to get these like video package lines out. You know, the bit in the video package where it goes, boom, line, zeitgeist, whatever. Like they were both, it was full of them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This has like been quite fun. It's encouraged us to talk about like spiking a bottle of Prime with a Slim Jim or whatever. LA Knight in his pool. Like, you know, like I think this is allowed for some creative freedom, and these were the wrong wrestlers delivering the wrong lines in the wrong setting. And I didn't get any kind of big time vibe from two people.
It should have been like, I'm coming to your backyard and people are going to cheer me.
Yeah, like the LA Knight's hunt for the title is sort of like LA, and this should be everybody in wrestling all the time, by the way, but LA Knight's hunt for a singles title is a big deal because here's the guy that fell short against Roman Reigns, but was kind of refused.
Didn't even appear at that WrestleMania.
Yeah, refused to sort of accept that as the ultimate.
39 was that? Yeah.
39 that he missed, despite like the love for him, and then obviously 40 he finally makes it. But like the singles title that has eluded him feels at this point like this thing that he has to do, and everybody is backing him to do it. Like it's a similar thing with Jey Uso, realistically, and those characters are compared for lots of reasons, and this is another one. It's like that singles title has eluded you, and that singles title is something that fans are desperate to propel you towards, and it's brilliant. That's the perfect investment in a babyface, and yet it kind of got lost and muddled in that very old-fashioned, you're the worst guy of all time. No, in fact, you're the worst guy of all time. Well, one of these men is going to win, and who are they going to be? The worst guy of all time.
Yeah.
I just didn't think this worked at all.
When it comes to winning the US title, Knight, I'd say your chances are slim, Jim.
I mean, it's a step up already.
We get a great video package on Tiffany Stratton.
This was great. This video package was great.
Yeah, I haven't really got a lot else. I just
really
bubblegum on it. Yeah,
really, really good. Like proper, like career trajectory up to this point. The music choice was superb. And how often do we say that?
I'm so proud of our daughter.
How often do we say that?
Sorry, people in NXT that moved to the main roster feel like our children.
Yeah. Music is never good in WWE, and the music to this was really good. Tiffany Stratton, like the character was established, and then it was shown. Oh, she backs it up by kind of kicking ass, and like I just thought this was like a really strong profile piece that, like better than matches sometimes.
Yeah. Then I'm a bit confused by what came next. You might be able to help me out with it because LA Knight's walking backstage, runs into Santos Escobar and Elektra Lopez. Santos reminds him that he was in that match at MSG and didn't get pinned. And LA Knight says, well, I'll fight you next week then, whatever, or soon. Yeah. Can't remember if they set it for next week or this week or whatever.
Yes.
One would assume so because they're doing the tape.
I guess might be on the tape on you.
But he says that if you want to get in touch with me, this is LA Knight, your mum's got my number. So what is that? Is that like, because he used to like play around at Santos Escobar's house after school?
Because they work together and
so they could just ring and be like, yeah, if you're looking for LA,
no.
he's come round and we've got some turkey dinosaurs for tea, if that's all right.
I thought that too. God, I want turkey dinosaurs now you said that. I thought that too, right?
Not really turkey. It's probably more dinosaur than turkey in there.
Yeah, the amount of stuff that a bit of like a pterodactyl's wing.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know, I dig it out of the ground.
There's one with like the really sharp claws sticking out of the regular claw. Was it the Deinonychus?
Good at that.
Maybe, I don't know. Well,
me and Erica, we've got a Spinosaurus for bath time that we're enjoying.
It's got it looks like a regular tortoise dinosaur because right.
Spinosaurus is Geordie, Stegosaurus is Scouse. Just to clarify,
when
I do the voices.
Got to have characters.
Yeah, right. I'm a Stegosaurus. That's.
Is this a Jordan Pickford joke that you're building to? And a T-Rex is a massive.
Oh no.
Yeah, all right, okay.
I'm being good.
Diplodocus
is posh, by the way. Hello, I'm Diplodocus and I only eat leaves.
My word, my body is long.
Doesn't matter. They're all going in his mouth, so it doesn't really matter.
Have you met my tall friend, the Brachiosaurus? He's giraffe-like. I believe that. And you know what? Why Diplodocus is posh? Because like he being posh doesn't even pronounce his name like Diplodocus. He goes Diplodocus.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's a tweak I'll add for tonight's bath time. Thank you.
Twee spelled Twee because people that say Diplodocus are twee. Anyway, yes, I saw this segment and I too thought, it must be like, sort of if you get injured and you need to like sort of give you emergency contact.
Yeah.
Serious business. I text Rafon. He's very shy in these podcasts, but I text him to ask about this. You're not going to believe this, right? The implication here, watch it again later on and you might see it.
Okay.
The implication here is that Ellen has had full sex with Mrs. Escobar. I'm serious. Intercourse.
I'm going to
all three ways.
I'm going to take Mrs. Escobar out for a nice seafood dinner and then never call her again.
Yep, that's LA night.
Tiffany Stratton was in action next against Michin. She got like a certain number of matches she has to compete in every week.
What's a 2024 cage match at the moment? 100.
It's awesome.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Yeah, Michin's not bad at the moment.
So she controls early. Stratton has to roll to the outside. Michin chases after her, and then Stratton obviously hides behind the queen, who's with her, I should have mentioned. And they get into it a bit because obviously their history and that time when Nia Jax fell over. And Stratton takes advantage of that, hits her with an Alabama slam on the outside. I think that took us to a break. Regardless, Stratton hits a double knees for a near fall, back elbow, pop-up powerbomb, tries another Alabama slam in the ring, but Michin fights out of it and hits a back elbow. Michin fires back up, kicks, neck breaker, tornado DDT. Stratton comes back with a kick, though, gets a 2 count off that. Stratton puts Michin on the top. Michin counters with a nice shotgun drop kick. So Stratton rolls to the outside. Michin looks like she's going to hit the ropes and do something bonkers, but Nia Jax cuts her off. Stratton hits a rolling senton, and then suddenly Bayley appears, attacks Jax, throws her into the timekeeper's area, grabs the briefcase, because Nia Jax has been holding that for Tiffany Stratton, hits her with it, and then, I don't know what this means, she gets the briefcase, she's twatted her with it, she starts smashing it on the stairs, and I'm like, okay, I know what's happening in a way, because
Oh my God.
I'll allow it. We're going to get a special Tiffany Stratton briefcase now.
But the idea is here it's symbolic, right?
Yes. So she smashes it against the steps and then she sort of like props it open and stamps on it so it splits in half. And this obviously distracts Stratton. Michin rolls up Stratton for the 1, 2, 3. And Bayley just gives her back the briefcase, which, I don't know. It still works. It's still a guaranteed title opportunity.
Yeah. I thought these...
Maybe Nia, I think it... I mean, it's stupid regardless, but it will be nice for Queen Nia to give, like, be the person sort of creating her own downfall by giving Stratton a new...
the weapon. That'll be in the video package. Right? I got you this, and then they become fast friends when Nia's the champ. Yeah. Again, I'm with you on that journey, 100%. The two ideas here were too disparate. Michin and Tiffany Stratton. Like I've said this to you before, right? With WWE TV matches, I either need to care about the characters and what they're up to in their lives, and ideally I want the wrestlers to wrestle like their characters. There's nothing worse than when a match just falls into the trap of being a match. Like, and who's wrestling? Doesn't matter. The moves are just happening. Like, this was absolutely a Michin Tiffany Stratton match, and I mean that as a compliment. Mm-hmm. They were lobbing bombs here, right? This was like not just well worked, but it was stiff. Felt real. Felt like two people, like Tiffany Stratton feeling like she had to like prove herself against Michin. Michin oddly feeling like she had to prove herself against Tiffany Stratton. Fucking step to me. I'll hit you really hard. And then Tiffany Stratton being like, you don't know enough about me because I can hit hard too. Like there was needle to this. And I was really into it. And that then makes you kind of backward engineer the tension between the two based on like what have been some like quite silly exchanges. But between people that hit quite hard, you get to the match, all you're left with is the hard hitting.
Yeah.
So they battered each other in this one. You pointed out the shotgun dropkick. The Alabama slams weren't holding back. They were just drilling each other here. And then the stuff that makes the difference is the distraction of the briefcase, which, as we've kind of alluded to, it's a dumb reason to get to where we know we're going, which is the fun designed Tiffany Stratton. Because
I like the fact we get a tag match this week, I should say.
We've had customized briefcases that don't require. Like the holder can just get their own. They don't need the first one to
remember the whole thing for a while where, because I think Finn got Damian Priest a special Senora Money in the Bank one. People went, what if the contract's still in the old one? Yeah. No, it's symbolic. You don't get out and go, I mean, I know that ref when Carmella tried to cash in took 20 minutes.
It's freaking like Seth Rollins is going to open the briefcase up and get his contract. Oh no, Dean Ambrose has rigged it with slime.
That was good, wasn't it? That was
I thought Bailey looked a bit of an idiot. Do you know who looked great here? Nia Jax, like taking that bump into the technical area. And that's like a VAR area. The ringside sort of, And Bailey looked pretty stupid, bashing the briefcase and making it seem like a win. And that was my point, right? So the match, into it, all the character-based stuff they've thrown into it, the physicality ends in a distraction roll-up because of a broken briefcase. That's really lame.
Yeah.
And it really undermines all the work they've done. So the two things didn't connect together.
Then we got... I really, really like this. A, because obviously it's cinema, but B, because in my interpretation of how the Bloodline solo tribal chiefs was playing out, I thought this was a personification of everything because of, well, I'll get to the reason why. The Bloodline are in a dark room.
Yeah.
They're like shadowy figures, and Jacob Fatu's doing the hands together with the Ula Fala.
It's a little bit early Judgment Day with Edge, isn't it? A little bit.
Well,
okay, all right.
Solo says, life's good when you're the tribal chief.
I mean,
it's busy. I ain't got a moment to myself. Who's going to step up and be Cody's partner later? That's disrespecting the Bloodline. No one will do it. Don't stand with Cody or we'll get you, basically. If you're on Cody's side, you're against the Bloodline. It better be a handicap match tonight or someone's going to pay the price. And Jacob puts the Ula Fala on him. All I could think of watching this was, preposterous visually, but maybe that's part of it, of like, down the road, Roman Reigns is going to be like, you have these visuals of like you in this darkened room and this ceremonial Ula Fala. Do you know what they did to make me look like the tribal chief? Ring the bell. It's the Adam Cole carrying cross thing.
All right, yeah. People love
you're
that.
Trying so hard. Whereas if I needed to cut a promo, I'd just come out on the start of the show, say everyone's going to get their ass kicked because I'm the bloody best, and then I'd be back home by the time the show finishes.
I like that when I presented you with a problem, you're a solutions-orientated person, you were trying to present me with a solution. I will go one better than the carrying cross Adam Cole example to bolster your take. Roman Reigns did that to Cody Rhodes ahead of WrestleMania 39, the very build that Cody Rhodes referenced on this show. Remember that promo? We were like, oh, what are you done that for? Like, because we were so certain Cody was going to win for 39. It was like, Roman's kind of killed him out there. Like, what's that about? And then obviously we see how it plays out. All right. Look, you don't have to sell me on letting it play out.
Yeah.
That is the bit I'm kind of more than prepared to do. I just wish he was better.
We'll get into what happened because they announced the number one contender. I'm not here on Friday. I'm on a stag do. So you and I, very quickly going to mention the fact that when we were walking for coffee today, we went, there's that 6-person gauntlet contender match. It's going to be the Bloodline who wins.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And Bailey Amichian versus Jackson Stratton. And LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. And if LA Knight can win that match, maybe he can win the title.
What?
Or maybe Logan Paul's going to come and his brother's going to chin him or whatever. I don't know.
That's not bad. Am I misremembering? Or was Santos the third man in the LA Knight Logan Paul?
Yes, that's what they referenced that earlier. He said I wasn't pinned in that MSG match.
And it was, I was thinking it was like, but Logan's the other guy, so they've kind of kept those three together. And why Triple H done that? It's probably because Santos Escobar is LA Knight's first opponent when he wins the US title for a TV match or something.
Yeah, I pinned you. Well, Logan Paul hit me with the brass nut.
Dare I say it's a little bit getting a win in a G1 and getting a title. A little bit.
Cody's walking to the ring, and who should appear? But of course, Kevin Owens. Great to see him back. Obviously, fantastic news. If I'm reading it right, regarding the family issues he's been going through. Never want to hear anyone going through something like that. Kevin Owens is there, though, taping up his, then they do the follow shot of him walking through, and so great. It's great every time. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens versus A-Tan Dan Ander was our main event of the evening.
Bloodline is cinema that everybody loves, but like I love Kevin Owens' perpetual fight with Bloodline just as much. Yeah. He's been fighting them as long as they've been around.
Early on, Theory grabs Owens by the beard. Not a good idea, that. They spill to the outside. Cody's in trouble. I think he missed a tag, and therefore they got the advantage on him. Eventually, though, hot tag to Kevin Owens. Runs wild. Goes up top. Goes for a swanton, but Waller gets the knees up. Theory comes in, rolling drop kick on Owens. Waller comes back in and hits an elbow for a 2 count to take us to our final break. When we come back, there's Waller and Owens on the top rope. Owens knocks him down, hits a swanton, gets the hot tag to Cody, who starts beating the crap out of Austin Theory. Oh, no, this is where we got the blind tag to Waller. Cody hit a DDT on Theory, but Waller just runs in and hits a rolling facebuster for a good 2 count. Theory comes in. Waller nearly hits him again. There's that hesitation between the two of them, and that allows Owens to hit a stunner on Waller. Cody hit the crossroads on Theory and got the 1, 2, 3. Anything you want to say about this match?
Fun pantomime that did actually attempt to keep telling the A-Town Down Under story, and I just want to lavish a bit of praise on Cody Rhodes for a change, right? We always talk about how he's, or I've certainly waffled on about it, how he's a composite of basically every top guy WWE has ever had. In lots of different ways, he embodies a lot of their qualities. And by top guys, you pretty much like, it's, you know, I'm a Brett guy till the end, but you kind of, it has to go Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena. That's your, you know, like, and you can love whoever you love, but they're and he's all of them for multiple reasons. But what he's got that I would argue you couldn't have with Austin, you rarely got with Rock, and you just never believably had with Cena. So as a result, he's got something that Hogan had, and that was in like the 80s when people just looked at wrestling differently. He is a guy that you want to have allies and friends, and the friends on screen want to team with him and help him, and then he elevates them by being around them. Like, whenever Cody's got a mate, and this goes back to when it was Jey Uso and Raw, or Randy Orton right now, and Kevin Owens right now, and Kevin Owens pretty much since he's been back, like, it's so real feeling. Like, yes, Cody's got a mate, and I like his mate too, and they're out there together, and they're only doing cartoony stuff just to, this is like send the fans home happy at a house show type stuff, realistically, against cartoon heels, villains of the night to fight. But like, in the moment, I'm so pleased that they're mates. And I was like, yes. When John Cena would pair it with Babyface, I was like, ugh. Like, you're not really his mate. You don't really like John Cena. And when it was The Rock, it was like, The Rock's too cool for this. Like, The Rock is like Mick, that was the charm of the Rock and Sock connection. How have these two found it? But like, when it was somebody else, your fave's getting a night tagging with an Edge or someone, it's like, oh, right, when's Rock going to call him a bridge? No, like, Austin's probably going to stun you at the end of DTA, pal, and all that sort of thing. So there is like a sort of, nearly 40 years ago, when a lot of people just accept wrestling as real quality to Cody having mates. I fucking love that. Yeah. I love that.
But it wasn't a good end to the night, because as Cody and Kevin Owens...
Sorry, I forgot Roman Reigns on that list. How dare the next guy that is maybe going to be Cody's mate. Sorry.
So they celebrate. Out comes the Bloodline, though, of course. Well, 3 of the Bloodline. Owens and Cody fight them. They get the advantage. Owens goes after Tongaloa's eyes, which he sells, I got to say, brilliantly. Yeah. Even at the end when they're doing the... and it looks like they might even be able to slam Solo through an announce table. But of course, here comes the enforcer. Jacob Fatu kills everyone single-handedly.
Nice that, by the way, the enforcer. Cody giving a bit of a wink and a nudge there. I've got an enforcer, and he's got a gun.
Cody has to watch them kill Owens. Repeated hip attacks from Jacob Fatu that do look brutal. And Jacob Fatu also hit a flying headbutt on Owens. And then they turn on Cody to the Bloodline, or turn to attack Cody. Triple powerbombing through the announce table. They put a chair around Owens' neck, hospitalize him, throwing him into the post. And the Bloodline, yet again, destroy Cody Rhodes and stand tall over him as the show goes off the air. Cody at the feet of Solo Sikoa, and more of those "We Want Roman" chants.
They have really got something here. Again, I might not love Solo Sikoa in the spot, but these segments hit and hit hard. Jacob Fatu is brilliant as the guy that is using his body basically to take these people out. You know, you got Randy Orton going out on a stretcher, and Kevin Owens is the next to follow, and Cody being made to watch violence enacted upon his friends. Like, I kind of want him to keep finding friends for the Bloodline to keep taken out in order just to leave kind of like nobody but Roman. I don't know if it's Roman at SummerSlam, but it certainly feels like you're being encouraged to hope it will be. I love the idea that they've at some point got to square. Yes, Roman might not exactly be too pleased with the Bloodline, but is he that unhappy that he wants to help Cody Rhodes? Like, that's something that they're letting fans will into existence without us knowing for definite that Roman wants to save him or wants to help him. You've like, I think it was over the desk rather than on a news video, so I don't want to steal your bit about who you think might be the initial savior of Cody Rhodes in all of this. You want to tell the viewers and listeners?
I thought that maybe if they doing the tag title match prior to SummerSlam, and it's the Bloodline, Guerrillas of Destiny. I don't think they shouldn't, like, not that it needs any more heat, but like Gargano defending the titles in Cleveland. I like the idea of the Guerrillas of Destiny potentially cheating to win or look like they're about to win, and Jimmy Uso stops it, and you think, but if he's back,
who else is?
What does that mean for Saturday night?
And it's really potentially quite exciting that, as we've talked about ad nauseum at this point, the good line that needs to come back and stop the bloodline. Like that's the cool stuff. But there's something else that it struck me with this Kevin Owens beatdown. They have beaten up Randy Orton, and we have all sort of agreed that that's to facilitate a heel turn from Randy Orton. The more Cody Rhodes inadvertently leads his friends into the slaughter, are you creating a follow-up story where suddenly people aren't sure if they should team with Cody because it's going to get them in trouble? You know, like if the bloodline create a situation, like, because that's what they're trying to do in the story. But after the fact, so when Roman is back and when the Usos is back and when the turf war is in full effect, can you also tell a separate story to all of this whereby, like, you know, Cody's like, it only takes one heel to say Cody's pretty poisonous. Like, you get near Cody and you try and fight Cody's battles, and how's that work for you? Meanwhile, he's the guy wearing the belt. He's the guy on the pedestal.
Yeah.
What about all his mates? What's happened to them this year? Hospital, injury ward, like all that. There's quite a nice. Somebody could be the devil on Kevin Owens' shoulder here. Somebody could be like Randy Orton is going to turn. Like, they're not just. I don't think they're just using this as a way for people to basically be screaming and begging for Roman Reigns. They're also adding depth to the Cody Rhodes gimmick and the Cody Rhodes character. It's like, I've not done this on purpose. I'm not leading people to their doom. I'm like, you're volunteering to help and it's going horribly wrong. Like, it's quite nice character stuff for Cody Rhodes to have to work with as well after this solo match is done with. So I think there's a lot to like about this, and it's ultimately all in service, let's not forget, of just keeping Jacob Fatu as the most dangerous killer in the company.
It's just amazing every week.
Good booking. Like, really, really good booking. You know, Solo's King Mabel. But like, it's good book. It is good booking.
I get where you're coming from.
Well,
but let us know.
Say things that I mean. I love King Mabel.
Let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed, either in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcast. The Collision review coming your way later on today, and the three of us will be back to preview Monday Night Raw a little bit later on today. But for now, this has been the SmackDown review, where we've talked about a huge SummerSlam match being confirmed, the Bloodline destroying Cody Rhodes again, Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green, Andrade defeating Carmelo Hayes, and Bayley destroying the Money in the Bank briefcase.
The SmackDown review. It's got all this and so much more.
We'll see you soon.